Here are 30 F1 facts that you probably didn't know. There have been 771 different drivers in F1. Out of those 771, only 111 have won a race. Put it in other words, only 14% of the drivers have won a race. This would mean that in a field of new F1 drivers who don't have a race win, only 3 of them would win a race all season long. Schumacher and Ferrari were on another level in 2002, as the 7-time world champion stood on 17 podiums in 17 races, giving him a podium rate of 100%. The closest anyone has come to this rate of 100% was Jim Clark in 1963 when he stood in 9 out of 10 available podiums. Sebastian Vettel holds multiple records, but perhaps the one he's the least proud of is his record obtained during FP1 in Turkey 2006. He received a penalty 6 seconds into his F1 career for speeding in the pit lane, giving him the record of the quickest driver being penalized. Despite finishing 1 and 2 in the 1997 season, if we don't consider the fact that the Michael was officially disqualified of the championship, Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher never shared a podium all season long. Kimi Raikkonen's longevity in the sport is unmatched. This can be shown by the fact that the Finnish driver has entered 353 GPs out of the 1062 World Championship races, equaling out to 33.23% of all races. Toro Rosso have won a race before Red Bull did. Toro Rosso's first ever win was at the 2008 Italian GP, while Red Bull's first ever win was at the 2009 Chinese GP. Both races were won by none other than Seb Vettel. Before Max's win at the Spanish GP in 2016, the best result by a Dutch driver was third, achieved by none other than Max's father, Jos Verstappen, who stepped on the podium twice in 1994. May is the only month in which no F1 champion was born, and unless Guan Yu Zhou or Yuki Tsunoda wins the championship this year, it will stay the same. The World Drivers' Championship has been lost by a single point 7 different times. In 1958, 1964, 1976, 1981, 1994, 2007 and 2008. Braun GP is the only team to have won every Drivers' Championship and Constructors' Championship they contested. As of the recording of this video, the 1990 Japanese Grand Prix is the last Grand Prix where the podium had no Europeans on it, with Nelson Piquet, Roberto Moreno and Aguri Suzuki stepping on the podium that day. Force India got their first pole position before their first point. Indeed, Fisichella qualified first at the 2009 Belgian GP and earned the team's first ever point during the race by finishing second on Sunday. Tim Borgud is most known for being the drummer of ABBA, but he also was an F1 driver. In fact, he drove for ATS and Tyrrell, achieving a points finish at the 1981 British GP. The car he drove for ATS famously even had the ABBA logo as an unpaid sponsorship. The first ever Red Bull can was sold in the same year that Seb Vettel was born, in 1987. In 2002, Juan Pablo Montoya had 7 pole positions, the same amount as eventual world champion Michael Schumacher, but didn't win any race, while the German won 11. The 2018 season is so far the only season in F1 history where all drivers scored points. Keke Rosberg won his first ever GP less than a month before he won his world championship. The Finnish driver won his first ever race at the Swiss GP on the 29th of August 1982 and became world champion 2 races later at the Caesars Palace GP on the 25th of September 1982. Prost won the first race of Senna's career, while Senna won Prost's last race. Senna won the first race of Schumacher's career, while Schumacher won Senna's last race. Schumacher won Button's first race, while Button won Schumacher's last race. There was a different runner-up every year from 74 to 83, respectively Regazzoni, Fittipaldi, Lauda, Scheckter, Peterson, Gilles Villeneuve, Piquet, Reutemann, Pironi and Prost. As of the 2021 F1 season, Vettel, Alonso and Hamilton all finished 3 times as runners-up of the Drivers' Championship. Speaking of Hamilton, the 7-time world champion has lost 3 titles by a total of 14 points. The most runner-ups with no Drivers' Championship is Sir Stirling Moss with 4, all in succession from 1955 to 1958. The McLaren MP44 is perhaps the most legendary car in the history of the sport. Amongst the many records broken by the team, one of the most impressive is the fact that the car led 97.28% of the laps in the entire 1988 season. Jim Clark is one of the greatest drivers in the history of F1. This can be shown by the fact that he won 25 races and finished second only once in his career at the 1963 German Grand Prix, where he suffered mechanical issues. Since 2017, the winner of the first race have finished second in the Drivers' Championship. Vettel won 2017 and 2018 and finished second in the Drivers' Championship behind Hamilton. Bottas won the first race of the season in 2019 and 2020 and finished behind his teammate in the Drivers' Championship, while Hamilton won the first race of the 2021 season and was famously beaten by Verstappen to the title. The 2012 season is the only F1 season where the eventual Drivers' Champion, in that case Sebastian Vettel, didn't win a race in Europe. John Watson and Niki Lauda are the only teammates to take a 1-2 race finish for two different constructors. Having finished first and second at the 1978 Italian GP for Brabham Alfa Romeo with Lauda ahead, and then again at the 1983 US GP West for McLaren Ford, that time with Watson winning. The three youngest drivers to start an F1 race, Verstappen, Stroll and Norris, all have Belgian mothers, but none of them compete under the Belgian flag. Nick Heidfeld is known for holding the unwanted record of scoring the most podiums without a race win. Another unwanted record held by a German driver is that of the most races without scoring a podium, notoriously held by Nico Hülkenberg, who started in 181 races without scoring a podium.